I just think of myself as Floyd Mayweather. What I want the people to really know is this, and what they got to really know is this. I can really fight. So that's what you got to know. I don't know if he had 1 fight or 2 fights against like probably another YouTuber. I don't really know. He can come out, fight hard as you want to fight. The results will always be the same.
We couldn't fight in LA. Commissioner said, Floyd, don't hit him too hard. Go light on him. Take it easy on him. I said, well, LA, y'all can't get this fight.
A lot of times when guys fight me, guys fight just to go the distance, to say, I went the distance with Floyd Mayweather. But guess what? Can't stop me. You name a fighter, the results, it's always the same. I tell my kids, go out and build your own legacy like I did for myself. I was able to beat the best in my era. I'm still undefeated. I mean, I think it's gonna be crazy. And I think it's good for the sport of boxing. But I'm not worried. You can mark my word to this. I can guarantee you this. The results will always be the same.
Put the retirement talk on pause for a moment. The clips emerging from Floyd's camp don't show someone coasting toward a casual showcase. They show a master craftsman fine-tuning his tools, dialing in every detail like he's preparing for something far more serious than an exhibition.
He said, how you make a million? He said, how you got all the money? And boy, I don't take no punishment. I move. You got it? Make your old lady got it. You got it? Okay. I want the old lady. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm an old man. Come on. So record the old man. Whoa. Turn it up now. Look. Okay, Mom. Come on, Michael. Come here, make it look good for Mom. Right? Make it look good for Mom. 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 Get back. Get back.
The pad sessions crack with that same razor-sharp timing. Short, explosive combinations, precise angles, nothing thrown without purpose. It's as if the instincts never switched off, like the body still remembers every cue without needing a reminder. Then you turn to the heavy bag, and it's clear this isn't just about slick movement anymore. The punches aren't playful taps, they're thrown with purpose. Tight mechanics, crisp delivery, and a thud that carries real weight. It feels like Floyd Mayweather Jr. is making a quiet statement. When timing and accuracy align perfectly, finesse can still hit with authority. Even the sparring footage feels different. There's no joking around, no light exhibition energy. The rounds look measured but intense, purposeful pressure, deliberate positioning, the kind of work you'd expect when someone is gearing up for a sizable, physically commanding opponent. That's where the storyline shifts. Critics are quick to label it a cash-in, but training camps rarely carry this level of focus if the goal is just to put on a show.
Nope. Nope. Yeah.
When icons of that caliber start dialing up preparation like this, the dialogue changes almost on its own. It stops feeling like a throwback spectacle and starts sounding like something deeper, about legacy, pride, the refusal to surrender competitive fire, and perhaps a few mental chapters that were never fully closed.
Yes. Bring it on. Low. Yes.
Because the moment Floyd walks through those ropes, the financial chatter fades into the background. The focus narrows instantly. It becomes about two legendary styles meeting head-on beneath unforgiving lights, where pride is tested, reputations are felt, and the intensity isn't theoretical anymore.
Boxing pretty. Boxing pretty. Woo!
The crisp training footage of Floyd gliding around the gym, looking untouched by time, runs straight into Sean Porter's skepticism like a cold splash of reality. Porter isn't buying into highlight reels or pad work flashes. He's responding from a fighter's mindset. The second he says the matchup doesn't quite add up, you can almost hear the analytical brakes engage. Not from a place of disrespect, but from lived experience inside the ropes. He frames it less as traditional ring logic and more like event logic, something built for attention rather than competition, and that distinction alone subtly shifts the tone. The conversation stops orbiting hype and starts circling around feasibility.
You don't see this one coming unless you know the history of these two guys.
Yeah, they don't like each other too much, do they, Sean?
When you look at the history, it's kind of like for a street fight. It doesn't make sense for like a in the ring situation, and so it's kind of like, I guess for the sake of words, crazier things have happened, and then now you have to say, well, no, it doesn't get crazier than.
Then Porter raises the real dilemma: how do you even break down a Tyson-Floyd matchup in any serious way? On one side, you have a heavyweight legend approaching 60. On the other, a defensive savant whose entire legacy was built on reflexes, angles, and the subtle craft of disappearing before danger fully forms. When Porter mentions that Tyson likely didn't log much sparring ahead of Jake, that detail hits harder than most headlines. Because facing someone like Floyd without razor-sharp rounds behind you isn't just risky, it's tactical suicide. Preparing for that kind of timing without live representatives would be like trying to play high-speed chess while fighting off sleep. He even notes Tyson would need quick, agile sparring partners simply to acclimate to Floyd's tempo. That's the type of fighter-to-fighter insight casual observers rarely factor in, but it changes everything when you start analyzing the matchup seriously.
You see, it was directly because he did not spar. If he's gonna get in the ring with Floyd Mayweather, the thing he needs more than he needed with Jake is timing. The timing just wasn't there in the fight with Jake Paul. If he's gonna get in the ring with Floyd Mayweather, he's gonna have to do some sparring. He's gonna have to spar some, really fast guys. And I don't know at what level he's gonna take this serious. You know what I mean? I don't know. Mike, I think he's just beyond that age of. There's something you can do to muster it up.
Right.
I think he's all ketchup. Yeah, there's no mustard there anymore.
Then the cat and mouse comparison lands, and it fits perfectly. That's been Floyd's operating system for years. Draw the pressure, shift the angle, disappear before the trap closes. But the image Porter paints lingers. What if Mike actually gets his hands on him? That single thought injects real tension. On paper, Floyd avoids everything. Historically, he solves every riddle. But on a physical level, that's still Mike Tyson: size, force, and a mindset built on destruction. And just when the scenario starts to feel dramatic, Porter pivots back to doubt. He questions whether the fight even comes together, which subtly undercuts all the high-intensity training buzz circulating around it. Now we're left in this intriguing standoff. On one side, there's elite camp energy suggesting something serious is brewing. On the other, there's analytical skepticism from someone who understands the ring at a granular level. And right between those two forces sits a matchup that feels almost fictional, yet oddly magnetic at the same time.
Floyd has done the cat and mouse game his entire life, and so he knows how to be fast. He knows how to get in and get out. The thing that I think would be really interesting to see would be to see Mike get a hold of him, because I think if Mike were to get a hold of him, Floyd's a professional. He knows how to get out of those things. But this is like 200 and something pounds, and it's Mike Tyson, and I know mentally it's I finally got you, and I wonder what that's going to look like, so it's not until you start to talk about it.
The analytical haze Porter leaves behind, about timing, sparring gaps, and the almost absurd challenge of Tyson trying to decode a lifelong evasive specialist, suddenly collides with WD's bewildered tone. It feels like someone flipping the lights on in a room plastered with promotional hype. His first reaction isn't excitement. It's confusion. And that reaction speaks volumes. When Wade sounds genuinely stunned that contracts are reportedly finalized, it shifts the temperature of the discussion. This stops feeling like internet smoke and starts resembling boxing's full embrace of spectacle-driven momentum. That he frames it as an offshoot of the Jake Tyson event, which isn't disrespect, it's a sober read on how modern fight economics operate. Star power moves numbers, even when the competitive logic feels shaky. Then the weight disparity enters the conversation, and suddenly Porter's earlier question, "How do you even break this down?" rings louder. At that point, it's no longer a stylistic debate. It becomes something almost elemental: raw mass and force on one side, reflex precision and defensive mastery on the other. Not just tactics versus tactics, but physics versus timing.
Tale of the tape, they have it here. Mike 59, Floyd 48, Mike 5'10", Floyd at 5'8". Floyd with a 72-inch reach at 5'8". Mike with one of the shortest reaches for his height, 50-7, 50-0, and their KOs. No mention of the weight here in the tale of the tape. Interesting. An exact date and precise location are not yet known, but nonetheless, Tyson said he's thrilled to be slated to mix it up with Floyd, who he hasn't always had the greatest relationship. Quote, "This fight is something neither the world nor I ever thought would or could happen." That is correct. Fair play to Mike there. Iron Mike said, however, boxing has entered a new era of the unpredictable, and this fight is as unpredictable as it gets.
When Wade points out that casual fans believed Mike still had something left in the tank, it lands like a subtle reality check. He anchors it in what we actually saw: real movement, real footage, not mythology or highlight nostalgia. Then he jokes that either the entire world will tune in or hardly anyone will, and that unpredictability oddly mirrors Tyson's current aura. There's this sense that anything attached to his name now exists in a space where logic and chaos overlap. What really resonates is Wade admitting he'd still watch, even while criticizing the spectacle. That's modern boxing fandom distilled into a single moment: skepticism wrestling with curiosity. That he raises valid concerns about legacy optics, about newer audiences forming opinions on all-time greats based on late-stage exhibitions. That clash between cherished memory and present-day visuals is uncomfortable, but it's honest. At the same time, he doesn't pretend money isn't part of the equation. He acknowledges the business side without preaching about it, which echoes the earlier hints about preparation, purpose, and paydays. Now the storyline feels layered. It's not simply a circus, and it's not purely sport either. It's a hybrid space where intrigue, critique, nostalgia, and unavoidable attention all live together, whether traditionalists approve or not.
You think that this one's going to be any different? The answer is no. Floyd, even though he's slowed down, even though he's much smaller, is going to run circles around Mike Tyson in this. Mike's going to have real trouble even getting to the fight. If we saw the Jake Paul exhibition, Mike was hospitalized for a bit. Then he had to take a lot of time off from training, had a stomach ulcer, and then again, the limping to the ring. Oh, man. The whole detrimental to his health. It's detrimental to Mike's health to even try to do this. The article keeps going. This fight will be an exhibition, so Mayweather isn't risking his perfect 50-0 record. though he doesn't sound concerned about Tyson in any way. I've been doing this for 30 years and there hasn't been a single fighter that can tarnish my legacy, Mayweather.
What starts as Wade questioning spectacle boxing suddenly shifts into full insider strategy talk once Max and the panel lean in. The tone changes. It's no longer framed like a competitive matchup, but like a large-scale event calculation. And that shift is hard to ignore when Max says, "Let the veterans cash in." It doesn't come off as sarcasm. It sounds like pragmatic business logic delivered calmly. Prize fighting has always had a financial heartbeat, and his simply acknowledging it out loud that then shady floats the idea of a Tyson exhibition followed by a Pacquiao rematch, and that's when it clicks. This isn't a comeback blueprint. It feels more like a carefully plotted legacy tour, complete with pay-per-view arithmetic behind every stop. When Max references Bud Crawford and subtly suggests that a Prime-era clash might never have materialized, that's a sharp historical nudge disguised as analysis. You can almost sense the quiet agreement in the room, an understanding that doesn't need to be shouted. The most revealing layer, though, is the panel acknowledging that neither Pacquiao nor Floyd operates at peak physical dominance anymore, yet still labeling the potential bout a mega event. That tension says everything. Competitive primes may fade, but commercial drawing power can remain intact in a single breath. It captures the modern boxing paradox. Diminished athletic apexes, yet undefeated box office appeal.
So Floyd was never going to fight Bud, but Pacquiao? By the way, when Floyd, the rumors were, or the reporting was that he was going broke, you were skeptical about it. Now that he's coming back, are you still skeptical about it?
Very good, Max. Yeah. Are you skeptical about it, Shady?
That's one thing I don't do. I don't talk about no other athletes' money. I don't do that.
By the way, my hope is that Floyd isn't going broke.
So
if he is, that he makes all the money in the world for a Pacquiao fight and rides off into the sunset a rich man. I wish him the best.
I want to fight somebody. I don't care about the money and all that.
Who you want him to fight?
That's not good with Pacquiao. Pacquiao just drew with Barrios. And you see,
Caught Max mentioning that he never believed Pacquiao had the stylistic formula to beat Floyd, and that aligns with the defensive pecking order logic we keep hearing. Length, precision, discipline. Those traits tend to dictate tempo, even years removed from a fighter's peak. At what's fascinating, though, is the panel openly admitting the first bout wasn't exactly thrilling, yet still entertaining the idea of tuning in again. That's fan psychology at its finest. Criticism during the recap shows, clicks and streams on fight night. Then Max introduces that Super Bowl thought experiment, choosing to watch Mayweather to Pacquiao live over anything else happening, and it becomes clear what he's really describing. That's brand gravity, not athletic prime. Some names carry cultural weight that overrides competitive context at the same time. The quiet consensus that this is more business calculus than sporting necessity ties directly back to the Tyson exhibition narrative. It doesn't feel like random nostalgia. It feels structured, intentional event stacking designed to maximize attention, competitively complicated, commercially enormous, emotionally conflicted for purists. But for the audience that grew up watching these eras unfold, it's undeniably magnetic.
Watching Floyd fight is actually more my style of that perfect boxer. When I do a pound for pound ranking, I'm trying to be objective. Pacquiao jumped more weight classes. What he did pound for pound to me was more impressive.
But you have him over Floyd.
But I never thought Pacquiao was going to beat Floyd, ever.
But
never
Pacquiao,
thought
he's one of my favorite fighters.
Cool.
Floyd and Pacquiao, they're one of my favorite fighters. But I still want
Floyd's
to see
the longer, bigger, better defensive fighter.
Right.
But let's be real, what this is all about, business. This is going to be a mega event. Doesn't matter how old they are. They're the two biggest names in boxing today, even if they aren't necessarily the most active fighters. And Mayweather's going to have his exhibition with Mike Tyson.
When you step back and line it all up, the razor-focused training footage, Porter dissecting the competitive logic, Wade highlighting the spectacle layer, and Max calmly framing it as a mega-event calculation, the central question shifts. It's no longer, is this a legitimate fight? It becomes, what kind of moment is boxing creating right now? On one side, you have visible preparation that looks anything but casual, sharp timing, structured intensity, pride woven into every clip. On the other, you have steady reminders that age, physical disparities, and exhibition dynamics don't vanish simply because the names carry historic weight. That tension is the real hook. It's not purely sport, yet it's not pure theater either. It lives in that uneasy space where nostalgia meets ego, where financial strategy intersects with competitive identity. Call it spectacle. Call it smart business. Call it a late-era legacy collision. The label almost doesn't matter. The attention does. Debate surrounds it. Analysts scrutinize it. Critics question it. And still, when the lights dim and the bell sounds, everyone watches. That's the gravitational pull of icons stepping back under the spotlight.
He knew he wasn't used to being
Not to get too
boxing,
far afield, guys, the point is, whatever you thought about that fight going in, when that fight was going on, you had to watch it. The question about making a big event is it compelling enough that even if, I talk about this with Jake Paul sometimes, right? Whatever you want to say, when he chooses the right opponent, you're going to...
So here's the real question. Is this carefully orchestrated legacy theater, or are we watching two elite competitors who simply refuse to let that inner fire burn out quietly? I want to hear what you think. Drop your perspective below. Let's have an honest conversation about it. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, share it with someone who loves boxing debates, and subscribe to the Boxing Stories for more deep dives like this. Catch you in the next one.